Good morning, everyone. Good morning, good morning, good morning. I am your host, Tim Koger. This is the first ever episode of a brand new podcast, and I'm excited about getting that started with all of you. I've started some music intro. First time I'd ever done that. That's pretty interesting. We'll see how that works out as time goes by. So I hope everybody's having a good morning. If you are up at 7 a.m. like I am, I know some people will be watching this later. This is the first ever podcast, Facebook Live podcast of It's New Every Morning. And I am your host, Tim Koger. And today we'll go through some different things, but I picked up the idea of putting some music at the beginning of this over the weekend. That will probably be getting better, and everything will get better. I've been listening to people talk about podcasts, watching some YouTube videos and some things about how to do this right. I'm doing that right sometimes, what they recommend. Most of the time, try to follow what they're saying in some areas. But, one thing they told me, which is really nice for me, is that just keep doing it, and you will get better at it, and you'll look back in 6 months at the first episodes and think, wow, I've improved. So we'll see if that's true as time goes by. I think I have some great information this morning, great uplifting stuff. I have a story about a Down syndrome teenager that I'm going to share with you. But before that, I'm going to share a few other things. I like to talk about the news. And if you enjoy this podcast, please love it and share it with your friends so more people can see it, because that's really the best way to get it out to other people, is my people that are watching it, that are enjoying it, they tell other people about it. And the best way to do that is by loving it and sharing it on your Facebook page. So anyway, the first segment I'm going to do, and I'm going to do this segment a lot, maybe every day, but a lot. And it's called Forget About It. Okay? And this segment is about what the mainstream media is telling you is news. And what I believe isn't really news. And today, the big news over the weekend, from their point of view, is the No Kings protests. And if you've watched any news over the weekend, I'm sure you've seen something about this. And it's not in itself news, because we have protests in this country all the time. I mean, there's somebody protesting something every weekend, because weekends is when they do a lot of that kind of stuff. So having a protest, they use the new No King's name to try to be catchy, but they're protesting, and everybody protests stuff, and that's cool, but that's not really not news. Now, there is news involved in the No King's protest. There is big news, and I'll tell you what it is. The liberals in this country, and it was largely a liberal protest, and that's fine, but the liberals in this country had a protest with very little looting, fires, muggings, very little violence of any kind. As far as I know, there were no deaths reported. Now that is good news. And that's news, because that doesn't happen very much for them. So I got a few reports about this that I think is news, because where did this come from? I mean, did people just, get up last week and say, oh my goodness, I just can't wait to go on this thing that they're putting together and run around all over the country and do it? Well, let's look. I found a thing on Newsmax. I'm going to read some of this stuff, reporting from the National Mall in Washington, D.C. There was a correspondent named Elena Alston who spoke with a woman who was a self-described anti-fascist, because that's what they're kind of promoting, anti-fascism. And the unnamed pink-haired protester said participants were instructed by higher order to keep demonstrations peaceful. This is her quote. "We've all been told to be peaceful." And her back was to the camera when she was talking about this. And another quote from her is, "We had training on how to be peaceful and to de-escalate." So they had to be trained not to loot and mug and start fires and violence, and they had to be trained not to do that. At least that's what she was saying. Now, she didn't get a chance to ask her who like trained her, but organizing groups that were a part of this that were found are included the Democratic Socialists of America. They were part of the protest as things got kind of calm, things like that. Indivisible was one of the people that started this, and that was something started by Lee Greenberg and Ezra Levin. Some of y'all may have heard of that. I've heard of it. But it's funded in large part by George Soros, which I have heard of. He's got an organization called Open Society Action Fund. And they gave them $3 million a while back to support what they say social welfare activities. So as you can see, there was money put into this. This wasn't a grassroots type of thing. Now, Senator Mark Wayne Mullen of Oklahoma, he said, and I'll quote, "If you look at their sponsorship of the No Kings rally, it says CPUSA. And if you don't know what CPUSA is, I will tell you. It's the Communist Party of the United States of America." So that was another one of these. So we can see that this is not really grassroots type stuff. And I have a really funny story from this. MSNBC. I love MSNBC because they do some of the silliest things, and I don't really watch them, but I do see I do see some of the things they do. And on this Saturday's protest, they showed a video of a huge crowd that was obviously doing some kind of protest. There's one problem. The video was from a 2017 protest. It wasn't even from Saturday's protest. So that's typical MSNBC stuff. So anyway, enough about that. That was an interesting story, and I do have another story that I really want to share with you, because this is going to be a segment, and I don't really know what the name of it's going to be, but it's going to be something like News You Gotta Know. Okay, and this is going to be about stuff that you're not going to hear a lot on the mainstream medias, but things that I'm going to share with you. Really neat little stories, and I'm going to go through this pretty quick, but I'm going to do a lot of reading in this because I can try to tell it to you, but there's a lot of quotes and stuff, and so I'm going to read some of it. Now, everyone knows that October is a month of high school football, and it's also a month of homecomings. And at the homecoming thing, they have their kings and queens, and usually, I guess they vote on that. The school votes on that, and everybody's flashing pictures and recording big moments and all that stuff. You're familiar with that. Well, in Roswell, Georgia, there was a homecoming ceremony that took a bit of a different twist this weekend, and I think it was this weekend. It may have been last weekend. Star quarterback Trey Smith, he's the star. He was crowned homecoming king, and that's because he's really popular. He's well liked, but what he did when he was crowned, he immediately jogged across the field and gave away his homecoming sash and crown to the homecoming king runner-up, fellow senior Jake Jeffries, a young man with Down syndrome. Now, the footage shared by Roswell High School shows him taking off his sash and placing it on Jeffries, and the crowd erupted in cheers. I got a couple quotes here from Jake's father, the one that with the boy with Down syndrome. He said, "It was a surreal moment." That's what he told the local TV service. He said he has been a faithful attender of all of the high school football games since his freshman year. And a quote was, one game, the coaches invited Jake to lead the team out on the field. Then they kept inviting him back, and so the tradition began. Now, on Everything Georgia Facebook group page, it called Jeffries a devoted senior with Down syndrome who is the team's biggest fan and longtime helper with the training staff. Longtime helper? Yeah. Jake helps with the training staff to do things like fill water bottles and hand them out to the players. Now, the quarterback's mom, Kendra Smith, said about her son, he always has had a kind heart. He always looking to uplift people who might be in the background. Trey is always reaching out to the Jakes of the world, she said. So today, isn't that a great story? I think so. So today, I'm just asking you, why don't you lift up people that are in the background, but deserve recognition? That's what I'm going to do. I love to just say something to someone if I'm in a restaurant or something and tell them what a good job they're doing. And I love to make people smile. You know, for people that know me, I like to make people smile. And I like to make people that are working or not working, or just, for whatever their situation is. Sometimes for some people, they don't get a chance to smile a lot through the day. And if I can make them smile, I want to do it. So be a blessing and you'll get a blessing. That's my thought. So don't forget, if you love this, or even if you just like it, love it on Facebook. This is my #1 podcast. And that way more people will get a chance to see it. Of course, it's going to be on Facebook for a while. So all you people that aren't up yet, you get a chance to see it later today. And as time goes by, this will be on YouTube. This will be on Spotify and everywhere you get podcasts. So you'll be able to watch it throughout the day if you don't catch it this morning. Or if you liked it so well and you want to see it again and again and again, you'll be able to do that. So listen, everybody, have a blessed day, and I'll see you tomorrow.